Hi everyone, this is Pastor Stephanie speaking to you from my office actually. And I just wanted to take a moment to introduce you to our new and revised plan for indoor and in-person ministry. Now before I do so, I just have to say how much I miss you all and how much I miss gathering for worship in the sanctuary, chatting with you over coffee, or gathering with your small groups. You know, I've gotten a small taste of that from outdoor worship or meeting with you at your homes or in the park. But gosh, I just love working with the people of God, and I miss that part of my ministry so much, as I know you miss being here as well. You miss being in the sacred space, and you miss this beautiful community at Grace. I know it's been tough. It's hard to believe that it's been 6 months since we first suspended worship services and ministry indoors. In that time, we've learned a bit along the way, and the When and How team, created by the council, originally created a plan several months ago, and every month they've been meeting, tweaking that plan here and there. And then over the past several weeks have been meeting to kind of really revamp it to reflect our community and what we've learned a bit better. Now, when we create this plan, and we created the original and this one, we take a lot into consideration. There's a lot in conversation with one another, beginning with our understanding of Scripture and our understanding of theology and what it means to be the church and to love our neighbor, as well as listening to our experts, epidemiologists, those who know COVID-19 well. We also pay attention to what are the recommendations of our ELC churchwide and synod. We try and check in and see what are other congregations doing, what are their experiences. And then we look at our congregation. We know the deep need that our community has to gather. We look at what is the demographic of this congregation. And then we also consider what are our resources as a congregation, both physically in the building, but also our personal and resources of people, our people resources. All these factors are in conversation with another, and that is what results in the plan that we have today. Now, one thing that remains true from 6 months ago and today is that COVID-19 is still a risk for a variety of reasons, and probably many reasons that you're tired of talking about. It spreads quickly. It spreads in the aerosols in the air around us. And one thing we've learned, that it's not only a risk because it could cause death, which of course we don't want, but it also causes several other ailments that we're just learning about, like damage to your heart. With this in mind, we know that one thing remains true, and that is gathering indoor and in person in the sanctuary for worship is our goal, where we hope to be, but not where we are yet. As we get on our path to containment of the virus, that is where we hope to be, gathering in person. But at this time, the more people that you gather together with, the more you gather inside with those people, even with mitigation steps in place. You're increasing your chance of winning the lottery. And frankly, this isn't a lottery you want to win. And so we've created a new plan to reflect how the virus spreads in our community, and a plan that has this goal of gathering for in-person indoor worship at the end of it. Now, we've discovered a new tool from Harvard called Global Pandemics, and you can check out their website and dig into it and see all they have to offer. But what they do is they create a metric, and that's taking in several data points, including what are the case counts per population. And they create this metric number, and it's paired with a color, and that's a risk level color for COVID. So the highest risk is red, and at that stage, the virus is spreading like crazy, like wildfire in your community. And then the safest place to be is green, which means that we are on the path to containment. Between red and green is red, orange, yellow, and then green. And we've created a plan that kind of flexes and has adaptability to go from one level to the next bi-weekly. And at each level is a different kind of unlocking of how we can gather as a community. When we are at stage orange, we can gather 1 to 5 people in a small group in our large gathering spaces of Pat Bell Hall or the fellowship rooms in the basement. When we are at yellow stage, we can gather more people together because we are closer to containment and it's safer to gather, and we can gather 1 to 10 people in a small group in those fellowship gathering places as well. And then green is where we are on the path to containment and we are getting close to being towards the end of this thing, and we can have our community gathering in the worship space. So we've created this progressive model of starting with small groups to a bit larger groups to gathering in the sanctuary. And we'll know what the color is based on our tracking of the metrics at HARED's Global Pandemics, but also we'll post it to you as our community on the 1st and 15th of each month. So you and your groups can plan accordingly, and you'll know what is ahead for those 2 weeks before us. Now, if there is a spike in cases, we may have to adjust that along the way. So hopefully this will give us a bit more flexibility. And as the winter months come, hopefully this will give us a safe, but also an opportunity to gather in person in small groups as COVID cases and the case counts are controlled and monitored. Now that's a lot of information. And it's a lot to take into consideration. I invite you to dive deep into our plan because it lays out a lot more details along the way. But know that we are trying our best to care for our community of grace, for you, as well as our community at large in the Quad Cities. We're trying to find a way to provide opportunities for ministry without putting our families and our community at risk. And so this is where we've landed. This plan was presented from the When and How team to the council and approved by them. And if you have any questions about it, you're welcome to talk to me or our council president, Ken Crumweedy. We'd love to chat about how we arrived here. And one last thing before I go. Please continue to hold us in your prayers. We continue to try and find new and innovative ways for us to gather for ministry, both in person but also online. And we can always use your prayers and your support. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care.